So I'm putting the show together this morning. I send out texts trying to get my good buddy Shea Dixon to come on the show, and he just blows me off, just totally ignores me for hours.
Man.
And then I see that Shea may have had some work to do. So now he'll join us at 1 o'clock. Shea D, welcome aboard. Busy morning?
I'm here just to talk to Jeremy. I don't know.
Okay,
I'm
good.
still avoiding you, huh?
Thanks, Shea. Appreciate it. Shea Dixon go ahead.
I was busy. I was trying to track down what has turned into the news of the day, obviously.
It is the news of the day. If you're just tuning in, missed it. Frank Wilson, former LSU associate head coach and running back coach who went to UTSA as a head coach, most recently the head coach at McNeese, is headed back to Baton Rouge to be an associate head coach on Brian Kelly's staff in terms of position and whatnot. That's not exactly ironed out. But Frank is headed here, and LSU has gone ahead and issued that and made it official. So your thoughts on that as you hear it?
I mean, massive. I mean, just think of it in the simplest terms of Brian Kelly's been coaching 30-plus years, right, as a head coach. But it was all in the Midwest, in the Northeast. And when you're coming into the SEC for the first time, you're making a big recruiting jump. When you're coming to LSU and responsible for recruiting Louisiana, it's an even bigger jump. So we knew that he would have to, or we figured he would have to fill out this staff with some guys who knew the lay of the land here. Maybe that was keeping current coaches on staff who've recruited Louisiana, whatever it might be. But I don't think anyone thought, and people threw the name around of Frank Wilson early on, but that was the home run hire. That was, okay, if everything went perfect, you bring a guy like Frank back. And certainly behind the scenes, Brian Kelly was working to get that done. And Frank resigned from LSU from McNeese in the head coaching spot he had there earlier today, and has taken a role, as you said. We'll see what his position is. Obviously, he's been a running back guy forever, but he gets the title of associate head coach, and maybe most importantly is he kind of immediately can help steady and move you forward on the recruiting front, because he's the best. He's got the best resume. He's the best to ever recruit the state of Louisiana, and now he's back in an assistant role, and for the first time since 06, 07 range, I guess, if one of y'all could probably correct me there, but he's been a head coach since then, and it's just different to recruit as a head coach than when you're a position coach and able to get out on the road all the time and have those in-home visits each week or school visits or whatever it might be, and be available on recruiting weekends, when you've got only so much time with the head coach, but you're spending a ton of time with the rest of the staff. And Frank, I can let Jeremy, I'm sure Jeremy's already spoken to it. I'm sorry, I wasn't listening to the first hour, but yeah, I've been around for 15 plus years covering recruiting in LSU, and he's the best coach that I've seen do it here in Louisiana.
All right, Shea Dixon, go247.com. Let's look at the timeline. When is early signing day, and what does the schedule look like for Brian Kelly and what other staff he can assemble, which obviously starts with Frank Wilson?
Right, and getting that news out right now is massive. You're 8 days away from signing day, and a bulk of your class are Louisiana guys. You've got a ton of uncommitted Louisiana guys still out there. So, look, they're younger, so they were never recruited by Frank, but they see it out there of what all the former players and high school coaches around Louisiana are saying about this hire and how excited they are and what it means. And then when you get to spend some time around Frank as a recruit, you understand that he gets it. I mean, he was the high school football coach in New Orleans. He built that program over at O.P. Walker up and then has really made a name for himself at LSU. And boy, those years of 2010 to 2016, 17 were some of the best recruiting LSU's ever done. And it was really all about locking down the state of Louisiana. And so many of those guys, I mean, Jeremy, you think of running backs that he had with Jeremy and Kenny and Blue and Michael Ford, all those different guys. And then you can just jump into the other positions. I mean, Lael Collins, Jarvis, Odell, Tyron. I mean, you can go up and down the list. Those were guys that came here when Frank was the recruiting coordinator. And now you get back to, that feeling of, okay, Brian Kelly, even though he's from the Midwest, he'll be able to defer to someone on staff that says, hey, look, this is the path we need to go of how to, work this high school, work this city. This guy's an up-and-comer. That was so much of why LSU is getting a head start on a lot of these guys is because, when you're at Redemptorist and Jeremy Hill and Lael are in ninth grade and they walk through, they call over to LSU and tell them, hey, look, I got a couple dudes, man. These guys, get on them and offer them before anybody else does. And Frank was always really good with that. So I couldn't. I mean, I really couldn't. I couldn't name you. And look, they've got some guys on staff right now that know the state really well. But if you're talking about bringing somebody new in, Frank was the home run type name, and they got it done. This is about as big of a recruiting boost as you can have in terms of bringing someone new onto the staff.
How quick do you see the hire of Coach Frank Wilson paying dividends? Do you see it before the early signing period, or do you see it more National Signing Day?
I think it could be more National Signing Day, but I also think this early signing period, if he's in this weekend and look, they've got double-digit official visitors, and Friday to Sunday is when they can have them in, and then Sunday night is the dead period of when it begins, and then next Wednesday is signing day. So if he's able to get in front of a lot of those guys and talk to their parents and, you know, break down his past to them of, hey, look, I've been here, I understand it, I'll take care of your kid, all the things that these coaches say, I think that puts some of them at a bit of, you know, more ease. Now we'll see. Again, a lot of these kids don't know Frank. He wasn't recruiting them when he was at McNeese or anything like that. But he's been around long enough to where I think he can help get in there. And if they need him to assist on certain guys, he certainly could. But as the staff continues to fill out, I think that'll put some guys at ease. And whether that means a lot of it happens this week and then all of a sudden for the early signing period, you've got some more guys in play, or whether that means it happens over the next month. And then by the bowl game, we kind of have a feel after that of what the staff looks like. That'll set up well for February. But it's never a bad time to announce a hire like this. And 8 days away from a signing day, and you're announcing Frank Wilson as being part of your staff in Louisiana is a pretty big deal, obviously.
So what's going on this weekend?
A lot of official visitors. I mean, everyone from Walker and Will Campbell and Emory Jones and all those guys, you know, your commitments to uncommitted guys. Kendrick Loss coming down from Captain Shreve, Austin Osbury, a local guy, obviously, Quincy Wiggins, another Baton Rouge kid, will be there. Demario Tolan, who's their lone linebacker commits, coming in out of Florida. They've even got some uncommitted targets from outside the state. Kamari Wilson is the number one safety in the country, a 5-star, and he told us this morning that he plans to be there this weekend. So I'm guessing between 13, 14, 15 guys will all be there, and then John, if you know anything about official visits, that's 15. Then you got to add mom and dad. Then you got to add brother and sister. Then you got to add grandma will be there, and then a coach will roll with you. So, I mean, Brian Kelly will get a good taste of what recruiting is like in Louisiana this weekend when they bring these official visitors in, because it'll be a massive group when you're including family and everybody that rolls over there with them.
Okay, so talk about, to me, especially on 24/7 Sports, for certain recruits like a Harold Perkins, for say, they'll have 62% LSU or 62%. Who comes up with these percentages for these players? Do they say that, or it's kind of what you guys are thinking on the website?
Right. So then on the crystal ball, you'll have however many people have picked and kind of where they're sitting. It'll average it out from there, and then kind of what your confidence level is on a 0 to 10 will sort of weight into that on top of it. So like you said, if you're making like a Harold Perkins, for example, for all the picks that have been made, more than half the people certainly think he's going to wind up at LSU. And he's a big one. I just mentioned they only have one linebacker committed. We really only saw Damone and Micah playing this year in terms of middle backers that are both seniors. And you can say, hey, look, both those guys might be on to the NFL after this. So Greg Penn, we got a little taste of this year. But beyond that, we haven't really seen many guys. So I know they want to finish with a bang at linebacker. Tolan's a really good one that Blake Baker got on board. And Blake Baker's been great since he's gotten here over the past year and has kept him in it with Harold Perkins. And Perkins is about as good of a linebacker that's come out in recent years, 5-star, number one. And he's a Houston guy. And for LSU, it's important to obviously tap into Houston as much as you can. So he's one we're watching. It sounds like he may swing in this weekend, but it's sort of one of those things where Perkins is the type where he keeps it close to the vest and suddenly just shows up on your campus and everybody hears about it. So we'll keep an ear to the ground there. But, yeah, even any picks for a Harold Perkins will have LSU fans excited because that's a day one starter type player.
Any feelings on any other staff members that may stay or may come in? Have you heard anything?
No, and when we asked Coach Davis, Brad Davis, the interim head coach, about that on Sunday, I asked him if his expectation was to have all these guys kind of with him through the bowl game, and then Kelly would figure out the rest from there. And he said from his conversations with Kelly that he's got guys in place, analysts, that if someone leaves, takes a new job, or isn't retained, whatever it might be, he would promote that analyst, and they would just move forward with bowl prep and try not to skip a beat. So I think for Brad Davis, he's in charge solely of, hey, prep the team. Everybody keep recruiting, but you get the team ready. You get all these coaches through, coaching for the bowl game and prepping for the bowl game. It's finals week right now, so they don't actually start till Saturday with bowl practice. And on the flip side, Kelly will then handle coaching hires and getting everything ready. And remember, even because we haven't heard much about the on-field assistants that are still with LSU and what their future holds. And, Frank, obviously they announced that, but didn't name a position that he'll be coaching. So it tells me all that's super fluid. And even then we heard Jacob Flint, who was the Notre Dame assistant strength guy, is going to come down and head things up, a new nutritionist. So beyond just 10 hires that coach on the field, I mean, he's working on analysts, he's working on strength staff, nutrition, up and down the line, everything that goes on inside a football ops building to really make it go. So pretty busy week for Brian Kelly, obviously. And I'm sure, I don't know for a fact, but I'm sure that won't be the end of the news. I would guess that as we inch closer to signing day, he's going to, if he's got coaches in place, he's going to try to go ahead and make those moves happen and make it public.
Got one more question. We'll let you go, Shea. We appreciate it. Alex in the Bayou Ford chat says, ask Shea about Chai-G Hill from Carr. Sees a commitment. Anything to be worried about there?
No, as far as I know, he's still locked in. He hasn't made any other visits elsewhere. I don't know if he was locked in on signing next week or if he wanted to wait and see kind of what happened with Andre Carter and the D-line coach, and then get a chance to actually meet Brian Kelly. So we'll see if he comes in this weekend. But yeah, nothing there yet to kind of put a warning signal out or anything in terms of him ending up elsewhere. But again, we'll see when Kelly gets in here and this new staff comes in place as they look at the board and figure out who they want to sign early and who's going to ultimately sign in February and where they want the spots to go. It's pretty fluid just because it's kind of, you're now shifting completely from one head coach to another, and we'll see how the dominoes kind of go from there.
In today's indication, things are going to be moving fast. A lot of information coming at all times. 8 days till signing day. No better time to get over to go 247.com. Shea, we appreciate the time, sir.
Absolutely. Wait, did Jeremy say good things? Can I report back to the site that Jeremy is in favor of the Frank Wilson edition?
Oh, yeah. All aboard, man. We're all aboard. We're fired up about that, man. I can't wait to talk to Coach Frank about that.
Yeah, once you commit to Frank once, you're never allowed to go back on it, I think. So Jeremy's required to say that by law.
Yeah, something like that.
All right, Shea, we appreciate it, man.
All right, boys.
He is Shea Dixon at Go247.